Bangalore. It's fantastic that today we have joined from 3 different climatic and latitudinal zones. I'm Prabha Sinha, your facilitator for the dialogue, and I'm based in the UAE, somewhat in between USA and India in the latitudinal manner. Now, as Sanjay has mentioned about certain guidelines to ensure that the dialogue is wonderful, there are some other protocols as well that I will be mentioning right now, and I would appreciate if all the students from both the schools listen very carefully. First and foremost, whenever you are talking, whether you are talking for the first time or the 5th time, please identify yourself, and at the end of what you are saying, don't forget to say thank you. Second point that you need to remember is I perspective. It means that whenever you are talking, please talk from your own behalf and from your own heart. It should be your views and it should be your thinking. Means you hear what you are saying, what you are listening, then you say what you are thinking. Please forget what the views are of your teachers or your community leaders. You are not representing anyone else here except yourself. Third point that you need to remember, and this is a very important aspect, this is about active listening. Active listening means you need to be mentally present when you are listening something. Your body, your mind, your heart, everything should be present in the room. You have to show respect to the speaker by being attentive, and active listening will also help you in asking your response questions and in your reflection. The reflection guidelines have already been sent to your teachers, and I'm sure they would have shared it with you. So if you want to have a good experience of today's dialogue, please remember active listening is the most important aspect. Last but not the least is the addressivity. The dialogue is between the students. I am here only to moderate the dialogue or maybe to give 1 or 2 questions in between so that it runs smoothly. But most of the time it's between you 2 students that you will be talking to each other. So please address each other as far as possible by names to each other that demonstrate good active listening, and do not address me or your teacher. If you all have understood the protocols, please show me a thumbs up so that I can start the dialogue. Thank you, Chinmaya, and thank you, Loyola Academy as well. We are all set to go. As an icebreaker, I would like 4 students from each school to come forward and explain the community in which you live in. Your community could be anything. It could be a religious, social, economic, or maybe a school community. You have to describe your community in full detail. It should be a descriptive answer that you have to give. We will start with Chinmaya International. If any 4 students can come forward and share your views about your community, and then we will go to Loyola Academy. Over to Chinmaya International. Thank you.
Good morning and Hari Om. I'm Harshavardhan Ande and I represent Chinmaya International Residential School. I'm from Kuwait and I'm 16 years old. And to begin off, I would like to speak on the topic, how religion helps me imbibe values. So firstly, I would like to quote an example of a person whom I revere.
I'm sorry to interrupt, Harshvardhan, but I think I had posted a question which is describe your community in which you live. As you yourself had mentioned that you are from Kuwait, so that would be a wonderful thing if you can describe your experience of Kuwait as well as of Bangalore. Please go ahead. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Um, Kuwait is, I mean, I've joined the school for the first, I've joined this residential school for the first time, and it's very different from Kuwait, and the atmosphere and all the entire, it's really different from Kuwait, because I've been studying in a boarding school in Kuwait, and it's really new experience, and I'm just enjoying my time here right now. Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Chris, can you please mute your microphone because at this point of time, Bangalore students are talking. Thank you. Over to Bangalore.
Hariom ma'am, and a very good evening. It's evening here, so my name is Anirudh, and I've joined the school 7 years ago, and I've been a part of the school since then. Uh, I I was previously a part of a day school in Chennai, and coming here has been a totally new experience for me. Chennai is a city in India, and like all cities, it's a concrete jungle and has a lot of pollution. But this school is nicely tucked away from the city and is very beautiful, has a lot of trees and a lot of birds, especially migratory birds, and it's a kind of first time experience for me. And not only that, but CIRS is a school with a difference. And being a Hindu, this school has taught me a lot of Hindu culture, which has impacted me and which will keep impacting me throughout my life. The best part about this school is that we have a session called morning class, which starts at 6:30 for us, which is about, which teaches us the scriptures and the Vedas which are there in our ancient texts, and all the values and the significances of the stories, of the characters and everything, so that we can imbibe these ideals into our lives. And another important and beautiful aspect about the school is that in the evening we perform Aarti. For those of you in the US who don't know what Aarti is, it is a prayer that we offer to God, and we do this because, I mean, throughout the day we spend time with our friends, talking to our teachers, and learning. But then we are also taught that it's important to pay our respect and reverence to Lord, and thus we perform this Aarti to spend time with ourselves and to reflect upon how lucky we are to be a part of this school and to be a part of the world. So these two aspects have really influenced my life, and these two aspects of my community have actually helped me, become a better person. Thank you.
Hariom, this is Anuja. I would like to talk to you about the Jain community. I belong to the Jain community, and I follow the Jain culture at home. The Jains form only 1% of the India's population, and a maximum you see maximum Jains in the state of Gujarat and Rajasthan. The Jain community was started by Vardhman Mahavir, one of the last Tirthankaras. We Jains believe in complete inactivity and absolute non-violence. So at home, we practice Jain traditions like eating food before sunset, This is because after sunset, the temperature decreases and the bacteria in the atmosphere increase, which we may tend to consume in our food. And this is a great sin according to the Jain culture. We also practice the tradition of not bursting crackers as it causes pain to the smallest of the creatures. We also follow the tradition of not showing up back to the god because according to us, it is complete disrespect. At home, I also practice saying Machami Dukram, that is asking forgiveness from the god for performing any sin during the day. So every Jain says Machami Dukram when before sleeping. And in our prayers also, we give salutations. We offer salutations to our gurus and the Tirthankaras, which is similar to the Hindu culture. Even in the Hindu culture, they give extreme respect to their gurus. And I believe it is it's India's cultures and traditions which unite us. And I would like to say that I'm very proud to be a part of this country and its traditions and culture. Machami Dukram, and thank you.
Hello, hello and good morning to everyone in the US. My name is Ayush Ranjan and I study in IB first year. And as my friend Anirudh had said, our school is very culturally and religiously rich and active. So I'm going to speak about how cultural and religious practices followed in my school community have had an impact in my life. These practices are responsible for molding my personality and making me the person I am today. I'm going to take 3 examples from my life. First, recently we celebrated the festival of Shivaratri. Shivaratri is a festival in which we worship Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva is just another god in Hindu mythology. On this day, willing students take a fast. During a fast, students are can only consume fruits, milk or water throughout the day. They cannot consume any staple food or anything like that. So by this practice, I have learned to control my desires, and it has given me the confidence that I can have a control over like all my temptations. And I feel this quality is one of the most important qualities in my life, because in the future when I face situations where I'm surrounded with various temptations which I should resist, this is the quality which will come into play. The second example I would like to take is of the practice of greeting each other in my school with the phrase Hari Om. The whole purpose of this phrase is to show and portray the respect for each other, and also recognize the divinity within each of us. For me, this phrase serves as a constant reminder that I should respect each and everyone and treat everyone equally. And for my third example, which I consider is one of the most beautiful examples, is of performing the puja to my parents. It might seem unusual, but we actually, during our annual meet, sit at the feet of our parents and perform a puja. It's called the Matru Pitra Puja. During the puja, I feel so humble, and if the situation between me and my parents is a bit tense also, it all just seems to ease out. And they forgive me for everything wrong I have done, and it feels very nice. And at the end of the puja, there's this very emotional moment when we both whisper into each other's ears what we like about them. So at that moment, I feel the bond between me and my parents tends to strengthen. Thus, I would like to conclude that the religious and cultural practices followed in my school have had a positive impact in my life. Thank you.
Thank you, Ayush. That was fantastic information, not only about your school, but about its impact on you teenagers who are studying in that school. Now we will move on to Chicago. to hear from our friends about their experiences within their community. Over to Chicago. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Rosie Nguyen, and I'm part of the Vietnamese community here in Chicago. Um, Even though I was born here in America, Vietnamese is my first language, and I've learned the culture since I was very little. Um, sorry. Like we just finished celebrating our New Year's this past weekend, and it's a 3-day celebration where you go around and you wish everyone a happy New Year's and a fortunate year, like throughout the entire lunar year. Like I also do karate, and I study like self-defense, and also I study like the cultural dances at home and like in my community. During the summer, I go to Vietnamese classes to learn more about my culture and more about like how to speak it well and write it. And yeah, thank you.
Good evening. My name is Julie, and I'm a senior here at Loyola Academy. I'm going to talk about community within Loyola Academy. We are a Jesuit high school, and that means that we follow the teachings of St. Ignatius, who was a Catholic saint. And so just an example of that is similar to the prayer that you guys say at your school that you were explaining a little earlier. We say an examen every day, and we take 5 minutes out of our day and come together as a school community in silence and reflect upon our values in our day as somebody reads St. Ignatius's prayer over like our school's loudspeaker. And we do that every day, and it really just brings together a sense of community with everyone throughout the school. And yeah, that's something that we do. So thanks.
Hello, my name is Charles Hussey, and I'm also a senior here at Loyola Academy, which, as Julie just mentioned, is a Jesuit school, Jesuit being an order of the Catholic faith. And as such, being largely Catholics here, we just recently celebrated Ash Wednesday. Ash Wednesday is the start of this period that we call Lent. And in terms of what it means historically, it's the period after Jesus' death, and it's supposed to be a time of fasting, perhaps not just in respect with food. It's supposed to be a period where you resist temptations and actively give up things that you might enjoy, but perhaps aren't good for you, aren't good for the people around you. So in that sense, I think it's a really great period for the people of our faith and the people at the school, because it really does make you step back and look at your actions and think, maybe there's something I can change that would make me a better person. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Catherine, and I am also a part of the Vietnamese culture here in Chicago. So I grew up mostly surrounded by my ethnic group, and then I came to Loyola, and all of a sudden I became a minority, which was a cultural shock for me because I grew up surrounded by my Vietnamese culture. And then here at Loyola, it's more focused. I am a minority, so I try to bring awareness, and this week is Diversity Week. And this is where all the ethnic clubs at Loyola express who we are. And on Friday, we will have a performance showing all the different traditional dances, like the Filipino traditional dances and the Chinese and Irish. And I did choreograph a Bollywood-inspired dance to show the aspect of culture, and I hope I do everyone proud, and I hope that we also bring awareness here at Loyola through this week. And because it is my senior week, I hope to be strong and spread as much awareness as I can.
Thank you, students from Loyola. It was wonderful to hear your expressions as well. Now this is the time for you to reflect and ask response questions. Whatever you all have said, if you could find any differences or similarities or something that has surprised you, do share it with your friends. There is no harm if you have any disagreements or dissimilarities that you have found within your own classroom. That would also be quite fantastic. And then whatever you have heard, please ask a question based on that to each other. I give you 30 seconds to think over or reflect on whatever you have heard just now. And after 30 seconds, we will start with Loyola Academy with any two students coming forward and sharing their thought or asking question. And then we will come back to Chinmaya International. Thank you. Thank you for reflecting on whatever you have heard just now. Now we will start with Loyola Academy students. If any student can come forward and share the reflection as well as any question that you need to ask from Chinmaya, please go ahead. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Michael, and I'm a senior here at Loyola. And you guys talked about how you have your daily prayer every night, and we were talking about how that's very similar to what we have every day with our exam. And one question I had for you was, here in the United States, we have lots of sports and stuff, baseball, football, soccer. What do you guys play there? Is sports as big a part of your culture as it is with ours? Thank you.
Hello, my name is Anirudh again, and yes, thank you for asking that question. Really appreciate that there's something similar between our cultures. And yeah, as coming down to sports, We do play a lot of sports. There's a lot of sports in India. Hockey being our national sport, though we may not, shine in the world arena, we do play a lot of sports because there are lot of villages in India where a lot of physical activity is must because there's hardly any comfort in the villages. They live in huts and there's no transportation, so people keep running around. So we have really good athletes, but the problem with India is that it's a very vast land and there are about 1.2 billion people living in our country, and to search talent from each and every one of them becomes a really tough job. So in our school, talking about community, in my school, we have a lot of sports. We have swimming, we have hockey, soccer is a major hit over here. We have cricket. We don't have American football, but we have basketball, and there are a few aspirational people who want to go to the NBA. So when they come there, I'll ask them to meet you. So, and we do have tennis. Tennis is also a big hit. I'm a tennis player, and Roger Federer is my favorite. Any one of you Roger Federer fans? Yeah. So, yep. So we do play a lot of sports, and we do see a lot of sports as well. I love watching American football and rugby too. So thank you.
Thank you, Anirudh. If any student from Chinmaya International can come forward and reflect upon and then ask a question to your friends from Loyola Academy. Thank you.
Good day to everyone there. I have realized that there are many similarities in our communities. Like, for example, Charles has mentioned about Ash Wednesday, where you have to fast. It is quite similar to Shivratri that we practice here. And also, Julie had mentioned about the 5 minutes you take out every day to connect yourselves with God. That is quite similar to the Aarti practice we have, as one of our friends mentioned. And I also found a similarity that our school and our country has a lot of communities, similar to the United States. You also have a lot of communities together. So I would like to hear from you how you manage to compete with each other and manage to dwell together and be friends. So thank you and have a nice day.
Thank you. That was a fantastic observation and an active listening demonstration by addressing your friends by name. But unfortunately, we could not get your name. So can you please identify yourself? Thank you.
My name is Benella.
Thank you, Vanilla. Now the question is to Loyola Academy, that as Vanilla has said that you also have lots of diversity in your community. So how do you people live in harmony, whatever is the situation, whether it's a harmonious situation or any situation? How do you adjust with each other in your community? Over to Loyola Academy. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Petros. We get to form like bonds and other communities and stuff, learn about them through like a lot of times throughout the year. There's parades from other cultures that they have throughout Chicago, and we go there and then we see their like cultural foods and clothes and dances and stuff like that. And through that, we get to learn that we're very similar. We have a lot of similarities between each culture, and we form a bit of harmony. Thank you.
Petra, it would be great if you could just draw out the similarities that you find in these cultural parades. As you mentioned that you find similarities between different communities in your place of living. So can you please go ahead and explain that? That would be fantastic. Thank you.
Well, for some like faiths, or not faiths, but like communities like let's say Polish and yeah, when we go there, like there's like the foods and stuff. It's like very it's different, but it's like I don't know how to describe it. Like just I don't know. Yeah, stuck. Let's actually like okay. So for me, I'm in a club called IFYC, which is Interfaith Youth Corps. So through that club, like I see like I go to some Judaism synagogue and we see their prayers. And I'm not Catholic. I am Orthodox. So when I heard their prayer, I realized like they say their prayers in a singing way. So which is very similar to my country, the way that they sing, which is when they pray, they sing like in Ge'ez, which is a different form of my country's language, which is Slovenia. And also there when we went to the Islam mosque, they're also their religion, their faith, their practice is very similar to the Christianity practices and faith, which a lot of people like do not realize. And through that club, I have formed like a bond with my Judaism and Muslim friends. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your insight. If any other student from any of the school wants to ask any question, please raise your hand and go ahead and ask the question to your friend. Over to both the schools. Thank you. I can see one hand going up in Chinmaya and one hand going up at Loyola Academy. So Chinmaya, you go first and then we will come back to Loyola. Thank you.
Hari Om, I'm Yash, and I really appreciate your culture over there. And I have a question for you guys. What do you guys think about our culture? I mean, what's your opinion about our culture?
Hello again. I'm Yash. I think it was it. I'm sorry, I didn't quite catch your name. What do we think about your culture? To be honest, it's kind of sad. We don't know that much about your culture. Well, certainly not as much as we really should, to be honest. I do know that there's like a very there's a lot of reverence for cows, for example, and I've learned quite a bit in these past few days about the Hindu faith. So hopefully that's a large aspect of it. But unfortunately, when our social studies classes are not modern, they're all about history from hundreds and hundreds of years ago. So there are a lot of things that I would like to know. For example, I was wondering, is everybody at your school? I heard that it was a boarding school, which is not like ours. Ours is everybody lives roughly in around the same area, and we all just commute to school every morning. I was wondering, are you guys all the same religion? Are you all Hindus? Because our school, certainly you might have seen when Petrus was saying earlier, he's Orthodox. We also have many people of many different faiths. My mother's Protestant. I'm agnostic. So I was just wondering, is your school very, very mixed with respect to that? Thank you.
Let me rephrase the question that Michael has put, and it would be great if someone can clarify, as he has also mentioned about reverence for cows. If someone from Chinmaya can explain why there is reverence for cow, and and what is the importance of this particular aspect of Indian culture to our environment. And the second question that he has asked is about the religious diversity in your school. So please go ahead and answer those things. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Surabhi, and I'd like to answer the second question first. So a bit about myself. I'm from Poland, and I've lived in Poland for quite a long time. And your question was whether everyone in the school has the same religion. It's not exactly quite like that. Although a majority of our school are Hindus, we do have several Christians and quite a few Jains as well. And however, we do live in harmony because we all respect each other's beliefs, and I believe that it's something very essential. Thank you.
Chinmaya International students, if anyone can come forward and answer the query, or I should put it that they want to understand the custom of reverence of cows. So if you could explain the reasons for that, that would be fantastic. Thank you.
Good day, I am Vanilla again. I did not introduce myself the previous time, so I'll just tell you a little bit about myself. I was born in the United States and my family moved to India a long time ago. So I do have familiarity with your culture and a little bit of our culture. Coming to the question, I do not know every single reason why we respect cows so much, but I will tell you how much I know. Firstly, we have a lot of gods. We pray to a lot of gods, and cow is looked upon as an animal which has all the gods in that animal. And the reason for this could be that in our villages, from ancient times, cows have been very helpful in the economy. For example, they give milk, which is very important for daily use, and they help in the farms for agriculture, and that is also very useful for the communities here. Therefore, I think cow is respected a lot and prayed to. And also we have, in our mythologies, we have many gods in the form of cows. For example, we have Kamadhenu, who is a cow, and we pray to Kamadhenu. So in this way, we have cows reoccurring in our mythologies and epics, and therefore we think of the animal as very holy, and thus we prefer not to harm that animal or any animal for that matter. Thank you and have a nice day.
Thank you, Vanilla. Let me just summarize what you have said just now. While explaining the importance of cow, you have highlighted the economic importance of cows, that is, especially in a country where agriculture is a major source of economy. So cow being very important, cow plays a very important role in the agricultural sector of our country. Apart from giving milk and working in the agricultural field, it also leads, the cow dung is also being used in villages, homes and all. So you are trying to tell us that because of the economic activity associated with the animal, religious sanction has been given so that people should not harm the animal. Am I right?
Yes, ma'am, you're absolutely right. But there are a few more reasons why we respect the cow and revere it so much. And Hari Om, my name is Anirudh again. And one of the main aspects due to which we respect the cow is that the cow as an animal itself is always giving. It gives, gives and gives. And we respect this quality a lot. Because when we are small, we drink our mother's milk. But once we grow up, it's the cow that gives us milk every day and nutrition. And not only that, but cow is the animal whose help the Indian farmers take to plow their fields, and to grow the crops and the staple food that we consume every day over here. So indirectly, the cow is our nourisher. I mean, it nourishes us every day. Whatever food we eat, however healthy we are, it's all, I mean, I give all the credit to the cow. It's like a mother, I mean, taking care of us, even though it's an animal, it takes care of us like mother and does not discriminate between any child. And I don't know, sometimes we see cows and, they look so calm and quiet. They hardly demand anything. They're not very ferocious. They're very calm, but they're very hardworking. And to respect the cow, we also celebrate a festival called Matu Pongal. Matu in Tamil, which is a vernacular language in India, Matu means cow. And Matu Pongal is a day where we pay our respect to the cow. And that is a day where we decorate the cow and feed it a lot because it has been feeding us for the entire year. So we feed the cow a lot. And we also have a significance of making a mud house, filling it with milk, and making the cow enter that house. Like the cow steps on the house and goes, which is nothing but the significance that cow, I mean, as it keeps giving, it also signifies prosperity. So this act of making the cow come into the house also signifies that prosperity has entered our house. So every year we also have a festival so that we can show our respect to the cow. Thank you.
Thank you, Anirudh, for giving a detailed description of the importance of cows. Now this brings us to another section of today's dialogue. At the beginning, you all have mentioned about your community and the values that the community gives to you. Now, this is the time for you all to discuss about any one value that is very close to you or very important for you. What do you think, from where have you got this particular value? And how does this value help protect the environment or the community in which you live in? I will repeat the question. What is the most important value that you have received? From where have you gained that value? And how does that particular value help you protect the environment or live in the community? We will start with Loyola Academy. If any two students can come forward and answer these questions, and then we will come back to Chinmaya International. Over to Loyola. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Aspen. A value that is very important to me is love of my family. My family has been very important in how I've grown as a person. And my family is, I have 3 younger siblings, and I really feel like I can go to them with just about any of my problems, and they know how to make me smile and laugh. And because of that, I have a lot of respect for them. And how it helps or benefits the community, I think just respecting my family has allowed me to respect other people and other families, which I do think brings a sense of unity to the community I live in. And it prevents any violence, and it can also prevent arguments. And there are times where I get in fights with my younger siblings or my parents, but I do think my ability to resolve those fights has helped in resolving any arguments I may have with my friends. Thank you. Hi again. My name is Rosie, and one value that I like, or one thing I value the most is respect. In my community, since you're from a young age, you learn to respect your elders. I kind of take that as you have to respect not only your elders, but everyone else and everything else. And like, it's really useful to the community because once you give someone your respect, they respect you back. And it helps like create a unity with everyone. And although, like Aspen said, like there can be fights and stuff, but you respect another person to not really use violence against them. And also it helps kind of the environment, because if you respect the environment, you wouldn't harm the environment, which kind of gives you life too and like surrounds you. So thank you.
Thank you, Rosie. Now over to Chinmaya International. If two students can come forward and share their thoughts. Thank you.
Hari Om, I'm Shuka. I would like to talk about one principle which I follow in my life. It's Vasudhaiva Kudumbakam. It's a Sanskrit term. It means the world is one family. This term I have put into practice in my life, and due to this has brought out this democratic mindset in me. So I treat everyone as equal, and this has made me treat every soul to be part of one whole family. Yeah. Thank you.
My name is Janvi and I'm here to talk about family. So the unit of society is not an individual, it is a family. If I see today's generation, people want to live on their own. They don't want to stay with their family. They don't want to stay with their parents. They send their parents to their old age homes, or now what they call it the retirement houses, so that they can have their own peace time alone. But and then right now in my school, what we practice to have the ancient values within us is we pray to our mothers on every Friday. Like we pray a prayer known as Matu Savanam, and to inculcate the values and the relationship between my mom and my mother and me. So to my opinion, right now in India is losing its sense on the actual values between the family system. But yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Chanvi. As I had mentioned during my protocols, that we have to talk from our point of view and not in general. So any statement, generalist statement, I would like you all to disregard. Something like we are losing our value and we are sending the parents or old people to old age home or retirement homes. This is a highly sensitive aspect, and people might have different opinion on this. This can itself become a source of dialogue. Another time when we meet up, we can discuss on this. There are various reasons why people are sent to old age home and retirement houses, maybe to get better care. But we are not going in that aspect. At this point of time, I would like you all to think over as reflection, and if any one student from both the school can come forward and reflect upon whatever you have heard just now, or if you want to ask a question, please go ahead and ask a question to each other. Thank you.
Hello, this is Aspen. I believe you talked about a prayer for your mothers once a week. I think it was, I apologize if I mispronounced it, Jambi. But we don't have a practice once a week to honor our mothers. We only have Mother's Day once a year. And I was actually born on Mother's Day, so it's a very kind of special day for me and my mom that we sometimes share together. And on that day, we normally buy our mom flowers to respect or make her homemade cards. And I really like the idea of showing respect for my mother at least once a week because I think our moms do so much for us. But I was wondering if you have any practices that honor your father.
Hello again, this is Ayush Ranjan, and as I had told before that in our school we have this puja. It's called Matru Pitra Puja. The puja I was talking about, in which we worship our parents. So in Sanskrit, Matra means mother and Pitra means puja. So through this, Pitra means father. So through this puja is the main practice through which we respect our mother and father. And also my friends had told that every Friday we um, chant this prayer called Matrustavanam. This prayer again is directed towards our parents in general, not towards like mother or father. So in these ways we pay our respects for our parents. Thank you. My friend would like to add to this.
Hari Om, my name is Aditya. I just like to add to what my friend Ayush had said previously about respecting our father, since we had already spoken about respecting our mothers. And for example, as one of my friends there, Anirudh, already mentioned in the beginning of the video conference that every day in our school, in our community, we have an evening aarti in which we show our respect or gratitude towards the Lord. Similarly, we also have talks during the aarti during which our spiritual guide calls certain people or requests certain people to come up and speak about their parents or their mother and father and how they are inspired by them. So it was just recently that I had spoken about my father, and the whole experience had touched me a lot. And I had spoken about how I consider my father to be my inspiration, because when my father was young and he was about to graduate from school, my grandfather had was the his profession was that of a government scientist who was working in Chennai, but he had contracted the disease of arthritis, by which he couldn't move, and he was bedridden. And my father had to take up certain jobs, and he was just in the senior secondary school stage, and it was very brave of him to take up certain jobs and be the support for his own family. And that allows my father to be an inspiration for me. Whenever I look at him, I understand that we must accept whatever the world gives us. We must accept whatever the world gives us and not challenge the will of God. Because I believe that if you accept the world, then you also accept the people who are a part of it. And since you accept the world, similarly the world will accept you too. So that's a good gesture which I, have learned from my father's experience. And whenever he talks to me about all of this, I feel really touched. And so certain occasions in our community really describe how we can show our gratitude towards our parents, our mothers, our fathers, and how much they have done, and how much and what all they have done for us. So thank you.
Thank you, Aditya, for sharing your story. If anyone want to ask a question or reflect, please go ahead. I can see one girl coming up from Chinmaya. Please go ahead. Thank you.
Hari Om, my name is Anaka, and well, I would like to agree with Aspen, what Aspen mentioned, that she considers respecting her parents and her family members a value. And this is very similar to our culture, because we offer salutations to our parents, not only our parents, in fact our guests, our parents and our teachers every day, because our scriptures say so, and they nourish our life. So I would just like to say that I found the similarity between both your culture and our culture. Thank you.
Thank you, students. Now, if any one student, though we are running short of time, but I can give chance to one student from both the schools, to go ahead and ask a question or share your thought on today's dialogue. We are just about to close the dialogue, but before we close, one student from each school, please go ahead. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Vanilla again. I would like to pose a question. In our culture, during marriages, our parents do a puja to give away the bride to the family of the groom. Do you have any culture or tradition like that where parents are involved in giving away the bride? This is my question. Thank you.
Thank you, Vanilla. If any student from Loyola Academy can come forward and answer this question. Thank you.
Hello, this is Julie again. That was a really great question. Something similar that we do in terms of giving the bride away would be at our marriage ceremonies. The father walks the bride down the aisle to meet her groom or future husband. And then when they get to the groom at the altar, traditionally the father and the bride will give like a quick hug and kiss, and then that's the father giving the bride over to her new husband. And also many times which I'm sure in both of our cultures, the groom has to ask the bride's father for permission to marry her, and then that is the father giving his permission for those two to get married. So that's a similarity that we have. Thank you.
Thank you, students. It was wonderful to hear your voices, and I must congratulate and thank students, especially at Loyola Academy, that in spite of harsh winter conditions, you made it too early to school to get engaged in this dialogue. We do appreciate your effort. Please don't forget to continue your dialogue in the online forum. This is the time for you all to say goodbye to each other, with the hope that very soon we will be connecting again for another dialogue. Please unmute your microphone and wave a goodbye to your friends. Thank you. Both the schools, please unmute your microphone. Bye-bye. Thank you.